Jules, let's get this out of the way because I'm sure there's some clever clogs out there who will point out that the average age in extra time of Chelsea was actually lower than Liverpool. So we really shouldn't go and celebrate all these Liverpool youngsters.
We should actually do the math, but yeah, another time.
That's what was out there. I mean, they're about the same, but they're both very low. Now, the reason that is frankly complete freaking nonsense should be pretty obvious to most people. First of all, Liverpool's average age is higher because you have an old guy like Virgil van Dijk out there and Thiago Silva. You know, these people like instantly elevate the average age. But it's not just about age; it's about experience, right?
Yeah.
When you've got, Kwanzaa played a little bit last season, but the other guys, I don't think any of them had played last season at all.
No.
In the first team. And I think that's the discriminant, right? Yeah, Enzo Fernandez is very young. Fine. The dude won a World Cup. You know what I mean? Like,
He's played Champions League football already.
You know, Levi Colwill has 3 seasons of Premier League football under his belt. So that's a nonsense thing. I mean, I think we can make too much of the age. I think the experience here is a really, really big factor.
And also, they're all international. The Chelsea 11 that finished the game, they're all international. They all play for the country. Okay, Madueke is England under 21, so he's not a full England. But all the others play for their country. McDonald, Dans, Conor Bradley, Bobby Clark.
I'm pretty sure Conor Bradley will be playing for Northern Ireland. I know, he's for Northern Ireland, right?
Yeah, but they don't play. You know, Bobby Clark doesn't play for England, and yet he's the one that got the corner that led to the goal. Okay, Tsimikas plays for Greece, and Luis Diaz and Virgil, of course, the same. But it's not always about age.
Okay, so I want to rewind it to the start of the game, though, and sort of what we saw in the 90 minutes. I think that's also important.
Yeah.
And it's going to be important as well, the implication, I think, for the league run-in. Just a reminder for those who didn't see the game, Liverpool went into the game. You can debate whether it's 5, 6, or 7 starters, but it's, for my money, they're without their best player in Mohamed Salah.
Yeah.
They're without Jota, who is perhaps their most reliable non-Muslim finisher.
Yeah.
They were without Dominic Szoboszlai, who I think is probably their best midfielder.
Yeah.
Sorry, Alexis. They were without Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's possibly their most creative player. They're without Alisson, who I think is one of the best keepers in the world, although Keller certainly had a very, very good game.
Yeah. Darwin.
They're without Darwin Nunez, who is their starting center forward. Just leave it at that. And runs around a lot and would have made a big difference in this game. This is pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
To be in this situation. This is beyond all the other, but without Curtis, we're not even getting into like Curtis Jones or the fact that Gravenberch. In fact, that to me was a turning point. I want to rewind it. People might have forgotten this, but Ryan Gravenberch had to go off after inside a half an hour.
Yeah.
Which that's when Jogo came on. Joe Gomez and Tsimikas, I think, were the only legit senior players who were on the bench for Liverpool in that game.
Yeah, they were.
Conor Bradley moves to play right wing. Now I know, you're still running up and down the flank, but
it's not the same. Yeah.
Maybe he did it in the youth system. I don't know. I don't know if he's played there before.
But also, you move Elliott from right wing to right number 8, and McAllister from right number 8 to left number 8. So one player
has a knock-on effect.
You move actually 4 different players in 4 different positions, which is not ideal.
Right. And again, because people have different. It's not just a question of where you're playing on the pitch. It's also your characteristics and what you do. Elliott has played in midfield before, sure, but McAllister has spent most of his Liverpool time having to play in front of the back 4. So he's again moving to another position. We might be closer to his natural position. Everything gets rearranged. The combinations. These things have an effect.
Yeah, massively.
Should Caicedo have been sent off?
100%. We saw. I think Maguire getting a yellow card this weekend for something similar. We saw who got sent off for a second yellow for something like that, for similar stamping. I don't think Caicedo means it. He's just late, and he's just late on Gravenberch's ankle, and that's it. And I was a bit surprised that it was unchecked. I was surprised that nothing happened. And so where I was sat,
they called the foul, but they didn't book him.
No. And then Klopp, who must have seen it on now every staff has their iPad with the screen, who clearly had seen it on the screen, was going mad at the referee, saying you see on his foot, and he kept going like that, and he kept going like that with his arm, and again on his foot, and he was just and nothing checked, nothing.
So when you say he didn't mean it, I also wonder what's he doing, because he's also turning away as he does it.
Yeah.
Right? So
don't you think he's going to put pressure and then he's just late and then turns and...
I would have thought from that position, you're not going to actually win the ball on a tackle, but you might be able to block the clearance. And I would have thought that's what he's doing. But you're so uncoordinated. I mean,
I know,
that's the intelligent
really
thing to do.
messy.
And then to turn away while you do it,
Yeah.
I mean, all right, there's a lot that can be said about Caicedo this season. He had a couple better games recently, but he's also kind of somewhat regressing. So, I mean, I think that needs to be put into the context of the game.
Completely.
The disallowed goal, I can live with that. I know people don't. I don't know it was the right decision, but the one where Endo pushes. What was your take?
So I think the Chelsea one, I think he's slightly offside. I know the line doesn't look great and it doesn't look like
that one,
the
it's
angle,
whatever, it's so close. But
so when the referee has to go and see the screen, I'm like, okay, this can't be. So it's announcing as checking offside.
Yeah.
If it's either offside or onside, but the referee doesn't have to go and check the screen for offside, right?
Right.
They draw the line. They said to him, he's on, he's off.
No, he was obviously called to judge whether Endo was interfering with play
or not, and where he was. And yeah, he's clearly blocking Colwill. To be fair, from the first minute, and especially where I was sat, the first half when Liverpool were attacking towards the side of I was in the stadium, the marking from Chelsea was all over the place. So we ended up with Gusto and Van Dijk. I mean, please, come on. We had Chilwell on Konate, and even Van Dijk. At some point, we had Chilwell in between Van Dijk and Konate, with Konate saying to Robertson and McAllister, who were on the wide free kick, hit Konate behind me because Chilwell will have...
Was he playing some weird hybrid system?
So they were zonal marking. It looked at time there was zonal marking and then man marking and then only man marking and then a bit of everything. And I was just like lost. So even before the first Van Dijk goal, you could see that they were all over the place in terms of marking and their defensive line on free kicks and wide free kicks and corners. And then on the end of foul, okay, maybe Colwill is following Van Dijk. I'm not even actually sure that's the case. But yeah, it looks like he's preventing him from running, and if he was in an offside position...
So you're okay with the call?
Maybe, yeah.
Which brings us back to Pochettino in extra time. You pointed out that Mudryk, Madueke, and Nkunku all came on late. I actually thought, Nkunku kind of came on around just after the hour mark, if I recall correctly. I thought he actually brought better things to Chelsea when he came on.
Yeah.
And I go back to this, my thoughts on Nico Jackson. We saw the game before where Nico Jackson started wide when he experimented with that.
Yeah.
I think you have to get Nkunku on the pitch if he's fit from the first minute.
I agree.
But
even when he came on, he put him wide. He played wide and Nico Jackson played centrally. Chelsea cannot go anywhere, Gab, without a number 9. Or something that gets
without a good
closer.
number 9. Nico Jackson is a number 9, but he's not.
He's not. I'm not even sure he's a 9. He's a wide player. That's put there. I would rather Nkunku every day, even if he's not a pure 9, but at least he's getting you closer to a 9 than Nico Jackson will ever be. In the first half, there was nothing that Chelsea could do to attack with so let's say, for example, there's a couple of times where they play it's not even a long ball. They play a ball in the air to him. He's got Van Dijk behind him. He cannot hold the ball up. So already all the benefit that can bring you having a number 9 there. So you play the ball to him. He controls it. He holds it up. Everybody pushes on, and from that on, you start building your attack and everything. That cannot happen with Nico Jackson. Impossible. So yeah, he could run in behind, but as we saw yesterday, that rarely happens. And the one moment where Sterling had that chance in the first half, Nico is in the center, Gallagher crosses the ball, bad touch from Sterling. Anyway, the one time where he can run in behind, he's offside. So he can't even make it. Even if he's slightly offside, he's offside. His run was not good enough to stay onside. Apart from that, he brought you nothing.
But he is your center forward. You had 2 center forwards. Armando Broja leaves, and this is the guy who's left. This is the reality.
And it's mind-boggling.
I actually thought when Broja left, I said, he's going to have a plan where he's going to play Palmer and Nkunku at center forward, do some sort of movement-based thing. But no, it's still freaking Nico Jackson.
It's ridiculous.
Which is what which is what's
The
difficult.
Poch wanted a 9 in January, and clearly the club didn't want to.
Yeah, because he wants.
I know,
He
but
wants.
he wants for a reason, Gab. He wants because he knows that.
Okay, you know what?
It's harder
Here's an
with
idea,
no 9.
Poch. Why don't you pick up a newspaper once in a while? Sorry, pick up a newspaper. Scroll, navigate to a website, open an app once in a while, and notice that the team spent $1 billion. And there is something called profit and sustainability rules.
No,
And
I
so it is, I want. You had one.
I know.
You make it work with him. You knew the situation when you took over. I cannot stand these situations where people, I want.
No, I understand. But
You
if
took the
you're
job.
Manager, you saying, okay, we're doing here the show. We need a second producer. You're going to say, we need a producer with producer Freddie, right? You're going to say, like, this is what we need.
Right, and then I say, we can't afford one. Okay, fine. So we're stuck with producer Freddie. So if I take the job, I work with producer Freddie, and I don't get my second producer. And look, by the way, like, I gave Mourinho a really hard time about this. I really like Poch. I have to give Poch a hard time about this either. You can't go. I mean, I have more respect in this situation for Erik ten Hag, who says, "Oh, there was no need to sign another forward," despite the fact that they have Højlund, who's a kid, and Martial, who's a crock, and say, "Oh no, there was no need." Oh, I still believe there was no need, right? I don't think he believes that. He's not a moron. He doesn't believe that.
I know.
But you have to. You either embrace the project or you don't embrace the project. Final point. Just to wrap this, I know it's being a little bit mischievous and people love looking at clips on television, drawing conclusions. Pochettino needs this business now with the Bowley thing when they went up to receive the thing. Isn't the media being too intrusive, or did it strike you as weird?
I find it really strange. I mean, it's not that I find it strange. You go up the stairs and you go up to collect your losing medal.
Right. You know that Bowley's there. You
know that everybody from the club hierarchy would be there, right? And if somebody's not there, you would have known before. So and so is there. So and so could not make it, or whatever. You know exactly, and you know where they are even. And when you walk, yes, there's a lot of people in that stand, but you see them. And yet he walks past Bowley, and at some point Bowley takes his hand off his pocket. I don't know. He goes, and on his face he looks surprised. And then next to Bowley is Ekbali. Ekbali shakes hands with Pochettino. I think Ekbali's son is next to him. He also gets a cuddle from Pochettino. And then that's it. One, that's not a good look. And I think Poch is far too smart he should not have made that mistake. And he's far too smart to understand why. Because of that. Because now he's going viral and say, look, he blanked one of our owners. They don't get on. Blah, blah, blah. And then even if there's a bit of truth in it, just shake his hand. Don't look at him. Just shake his hand. Even if it's half-hearted, it doesn't matter. Do it.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal, but we're talking about it because it's become a big deal because you're creating these stupid situations which just generate more tension and which are entirely avoidable. Nobody wants you to be smiling when you go up there, but it's a ritual. You've lost cup finals before.
Yeah.
You go up, shake hands, get out of there. They'll say better luck next time or whatever, and then you have your inquest later behind closed doors. But to have people, and I don't think he's right. I think he just didn't see him. He was in his own mind. I don't know. He was thinking about his Churrasco. I don't know what he was thinking about.
But he's going to be asked now the next game before.
Exactly.
And he's going to say, oh, no, I didn't see him. We get on well.
Which might be the truth. But you've created another negative story surrounding your club. And you are the face of the club because guess what? Bowley and Ekbali, they never speak, right?
Yeah.
The directors of football, Stewart, Winstanley, these guys don't speak. The only person representing the club who speaks is you.
Yeah.
And now you have to answer this, and you don't need that.
So it's six domestic cup defeats in a row for Chelsea. For a club that had a winning DNA for so long, one, is this worrying? I know they're different time, different teams, different managers, different oppositions, anything you want. But it's still a proper, losing curse or whatever you want to call it.
It is, and to be fair to Bowley, that run started under Roman Abramovich.
Yeah, true.
Okay, all right.
Before the game, I was pitch side for the radio show that I did, all of that, and I saw Jesus Perez, who is Poch's assistant.
Yeah, JP!
Who gave me a big hug, and he said, "You okay?" I said, "Yeah, you okay?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "How you feeling?" And he said to me, "Oh, I feel good, but now it's a players' game, right?" As in, I think he meant we did our bit now. It just came out of the tunnel of the dressing room.
Yeah.
Now it's for the boys. Is it though? Because when you get to extra time...
Yeah, it's not the players who decide the substitutions.
It's not the players who decide, hey, let's stop playing now and let's play for penalties and hope that Petrovic is better than Kelleher or that our penalty takers are better than theirs. When, by the way, Liverpool have a pretty good record on penalties against Chelsea and in cup finals.
Yeah, but that's Liverpool. That's not Liverpool's D team.
No, true,
Right.
true, very true, very true. And those kids might have come. But I thought... When we had our little hug, I didn't think too much about it's the players' game
Right.
now. After, I thought it made a lot of sense that, well, it is to a certain extent the players' game. At some point, the manager and his coaching staff, have a big part to play in games like this one.
Yeah, and then I think on this one, I don't think Pochettino will look back on this one fondly.